The secret behind the deaths of 10 Hollywood stars. Hollywood, where dreams come true, but also where secrets are buried. Behind the halo is a world full of pressure, calculations, and sometimes hidden truths. Today we will follow the unanswered questions about 10 deaths that left the world speechless. Brittany Murphy, actress in Strange Signs. Brittany Murphy, a shining star of the early 2000s, from her cute schoolgirl role in Clueless to her poignant role in 8 Mile, a young talent, a rising star. But in December 2009, she was found in cardiac arrest in her home bathroom at the age of 32. The cause was announced pneumonia, anemia, and a reaction to prescription drugs. But for someone so young, with no underlying health conditions, and still living a normal life, that sounded unbelievable. Brittany's family described her previous health condition as seemingly exhausted. But there were so many strange things surrounding her death, from the strange smells in the house, mold, chlorine, and something that couldn't be named, to the house where she lived, described by many as dark, mysterious, and unusually stuffy. Brittany's death shocked Hollywood, but less than 5 months later, her husband, Simon Monjack, also died in that house, also from cardiac arrest. No warning signs, no serious medical diagnosis, 2 deaths, 2 people, in the same house, less than half a year apart. Both were on prescription drugs, both had normal health records, and both had previous psychological and physical abnormalities, but no one around them really paid attention. Was this a series of coincidental tragedies? Or was it the result of something that had been silently destroying them from within or from their environment? A young, talented, promising actress suddenly disappeared in silence, and the questions were forever buried within the closed walls of that house. Paul Walker, accident or something else? Paul Walker, the actor associated with the image of speed, action, and kindness in real life. He is not only the soul of Fast and Furious, but also a social activist, a man living a simple life amidst the halo. In 2013, Paul died in a serious car accident. He was not driving, but he was the one who could not escape when the Porsche caught fire. The official cause, speed. But later data showed that the car had only left the parking lot a few minutes ago, raising questions. Why did the speed increase abnormally? Was there a hidden technical problem? And why did Porsche, despite being sued for technical errors, still deny all responsibility? There were security cameras, but no one knew exactly where the car went out of control. And the news about Paul's philanthropic plans, his plans to retire from Hollywood, will it make some people unhappy? A real-life death, just like in the movies. But this time there are no reshoots, no post-production, and no second chances. Marilyn Monroe. August 5th, 1962. A small apartment in Brentwood, California. The lights are dim. A maid finds Marilyn Monroe's lifeless body lying on the bed, still clutching the telephone. On the table, a bottle of sleeping pills is overturned. There is no glass of water nearby, no sign of a struggle. The police conclude suicide by overdose. But is that really true? Marilyn, the name is synonymous with glamour, a global symbol of beauty and Hollywood glamour. But few people know that behind the spotlight, she lived in loneliness, hurt, and trapped between forces that she could not control. She had a romantic relationship with President John F. Kennedy and his brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy. Many rumors say that Marilyn knew too many political secrets, heard things she should not have known. And then, when she began to threaten to make it all public, with a diary that was said to contain shocking things, the diary was also gone without a trace. The phone was disassembled, the security cameras recorded nothing, and the medical records sealed and edited. Her manager said she called the doctor before calling the police. And Robert Kennedy? Rumor has it he was in Los Angeles that day, then quietly left during the night. Why are there so many mismatches? Why was everything handled so hastily and opaquely? Was Marilyn's death simply the result of a mental breakdown? Or was it a calculated silence before she could breach the walls of power surrounding the White House? She was the American dream, but that dream may have swallowed her. A tragic end for a woman who once stopped the world with a smile. Robin Williams, a smile behind the dark curtain. Robin Williams, the famous comedian who always made the audience laugh and cry. Behind that humorous gaze was a sensitive, profound, and suffocatingly lonely soul. In 2014, Robin took his own life. At first, the whole world believed it was the result of depression, but later tests showed that he had Lewy body dementia, a rare neurological disease that causes memory loss, hallucinations, and cognitive disorders. Why was the disease misdiagnosed for months? Why did he suddenly cancel a series of projects, withdraw, and become strange to his friends? Was it just the result of the disease? Illness? Or is it the result of a life of pressure, expectation, and the feeling of never being truly yourself? Robin once said, "I think the people who make people laugh are the ones who suffer the most. And when that smile fades, the world realizes the brightest soul are often the loneliest souls." Whitney Houston, The Angel Falls Down. February 11th, 2012. Just hours before her pre-Grammy performance, Whitney Houston was found dead in the bathroom of the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Her stage jewelry was still on her wrist, and her performance dress was ready. But her voice never sounded again. An angel with a voice admired by the whole world, but also a soul deeply troubled. Whitney was once the queen of pop and soul, but in her final years she struggled with drugs, debt, and the wounds of her marriage to Bobby Brown, who was accused of leading her into addiction. That day there were no alarms, no clear camera footage in the hallway, and security was absent at the crucial moment. There were a series of prescription pills in the room, but like Heath Ledger, many of them were of unknown origin. A notebook that was said to contain new lyrics was missing. Whitney had vowed to return. The media was writing about her rebirth, a promising concert, an album in the works. But in the end, what awaited the audience was an urgent news report about an artist who had suddenly died. Was this the result of addiction or a manipulated incident? Did someone not want Whitney back in the spotlight? No one knows exactly what happened in that room. She left alone, as quiet as the last note that was never played. Anna Nicole Smith, The Bullshit of the American Dream. Anna Nicole Smith, a former beauty icon, from a provincial waitress to a Playboy model, then the most controversial TV star of the 2000s. She had it all: fame, money, the spotlight. But everything began to crack after the death of her billionaire husband, 63 years her senior. From there, her life slid into litigation, addiction, and loneliness. The death of her son, in the hospital just meters away from her mother's bed, seemed to be the final blow. Just a few months later, Anna was found unconscious in a hotel room in Florida, surrounded by a series of prescription drugs. What makes a person once strong, reckless, now irrevocably broken? Why does the same scenario, loss of loved ones, drug addiction, mental breakdown, keep repeating itself to her? Are the lawyers, doctors, managers, those closest to her, really helping her? Or are they just bystanders, profiting from the downfall of an icon? The American dream, to her, is a whirlpool of light, but soul-sucking. Michael Jackson, the king and the question of the last event. Michael Jackson, one of the greatest artists in music history. The man who captivated the whole planet with Billie Jean, Thriller, Smooth Criminal, and also the man who had to live his whole life under the spotlight of media scrutiny, rumors, and the pressure of fame. In June 2009, when the whole world was waiting for the This Is It tour, Michael's great comeback, he was found unconscious in the bedroom of his Holmby Hills mansion. No one expected that day to be the last time they would hear his name on stage. The cause was announced: drug overdose due to the use of propofol, an anesthetic usually only used in the operating room. A small dose is enough to temporarily numb, but Michael used it every night to sleep. Why would a famous artist have to use such a dangerous drug to get a few hours of sleep? His personal physician, Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. But he was only part of the tip of the iceberg. It is believed that Michael was prescribed medication not only by Murray, but by many other doctors in different countries. They were in his favor, or in the favor of a music industry system that puts profit before health. Why did it take more than 30 minutes for emergency help to arrive when Michael stopped breathing? Why were his personal health records sealed almost immediately after his death? And why, just weeks before, did he sign a multi-million-dollar insurance policy that included a clause protecting his tour company if Michael could not perform? Was this a death by exhaustion? Or was it the ultimate price to pay to keep the secrets behind the scenes quiet? Someone once said, Michael stopped living for himself many years ago. He was a puppet on a giant stage that the audience never saw behind the scenes. And on that fateful day, the stage closed. But the questions will never be settled. Brandon Lee, the Whitebird broken wing on set. Brandon Lee, the heir to the legacy of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, was on his way to making a name for himself in Hollywood with his breakout role in The Crow. But on that fateful day, as the cameras were rolling, Brandon collapsed after a shooting scene. Blood stained his performance suit, but this time it was not props, but real blood. The bullet, believed to be a technical fault, pierced his body. But why were there live bullets on set? Who had checked the gun before handing it to his co-star? Why did so many crew members warn about the negligence in preparing the weapon? But no one listened? Brandon died at just 28 years old. His death shocked the industry, not only because of the loss of a young talent, but also because of the questions that have never been clarified. Like his father, Bruce Lee, Brandon died at the peak of his career, at the height of his fame. Both died while making a movie. Both are characters surrounded by theories, doubts, and curses. Heath Ledger, the man who became the dark. January 2008, Heath Ledger, Australian actor, was found unconscious in his Manhattan apartment. He was only 28 years old. The official cause, drug overdose. But it was not one, but 6 drugs, including sleeping pills, anti-anxiety drugs, painkillers, from different doctors in different countries. Some of them were not listed in the prescription records. Heath had just finished playing the Joker in The Dark Knight, a role that shocked the world, and was also the last role he would ever play completely. He immersed himself in the character, living in isolation for weeks in a hotel, recording his own crazy laughter, writing his lines by hand, keeping a diary of the Joker's emotions as if it were a real person living inside him. There were nights when Heath couldn't sleep. He told friends that his mind wouldn't stop, that the Joker doesn't sleep. He once confided to the director that he was afraid he was losing control, but no one really stopped him. Why would a star at the peak of his powers take so many sleeping pills? Who was the last person to talk to Heath? And why, during the film's post-production, when his mental health was clearly deteriorating, was there no support from the studio or medical team? Heath did not die in an accident. He died from the inside, as if the Joker had swallowed up the rest of himself. Is the price of art too high? Or has Hollywood, a cruel industry, silently watched a talented soul fall without once raising a hand to save it? River Phoenix. Talent in his 20s passes away before the show. River Phoenix, the young star who was once praised by critics as a modern-day James Dean. With his charming appearance and mature acting, he was considered a new generation icon of American cinema. On Halloween night in 1993, River was preparing to perform at the Viper Room Club. But before he could step on stage, he collapsed on the sidewalk, right in front of his friends and fans. The cause, drug overdose. But no one understood why a rising star, with a new film project, with a performance plan, fell into such a desperate state. Friends who were with him, including his younger brother, Joaquin Phoenix, where there are conflicting accounts of what actually happened in the club. Some say River was drugged in his drink. Others say he used it. Why were there no security cameras recording the moment? And why was the film Dark Blood, which River was filming, suddenly suspended indefinitely and then completed years later? Without a formal premiere? A brilliant talent, snuffed out on the sidewalk of a nightclub. and the questions remain in the dark, behind the neon lights. If these stories make you wonder, if you believe that behind the lights there are always untold stories, subscribe, because the journey to find the truth is only just beginning, and sometimes to understand the light, we must dare to step into the darkness. Step into